Go for a walk in your neighborhood. Look around. You're most likely going to be seeing a bunch of these. 2005 Honda Odyssey Touring, the Goldilocks of minivans. Travel back to 1995 when Honda released the Odyssey, a minivan like no other. It was different because it had 4 real doors like an SUV, but it fit 8 people. The first generation Odyssey was based off of the 5th generation Honda Accord. It had a 130 horsepower 2.2 liter 4-cylinder. The first gen Odyssey was also one of the first minivans to have a trick third row which folded into the floor. 1999 brought us the second generation Odyssey, which was considerably bigger than the previous gen Odyssey, and it had more conventional sliding doors, unlike the 4 doors of the old Odyssey. The second gen Odyssey was also the first Odyssey to get a standard V6 engine, and it was also one of the first minivans to get onboard satellite navigation. Second generation Odysseys had a 210 horsepower 3.5 liter V6. Honda revised the Odyssey in 2001 and gave it an extra 30 horsepower up to 240 horsepower with the new J35A4. Honda also gave the Odyssey a brand new 5-speed automatic transmission compared to the old 4-speed, which was extremely paper-like and fragile, as everyone knows late 90s Hondas to be. These were also the only Odysseys to not get sliding rear windows. In 2005 we got the 3rd generation Odyssey like we have here. It had an even more powerful 255 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6, and it had the introduction of VCM, variable cylinder management, which actually shuts off cylinders to try to save fuel. Even with the power increase, these 3rd gen Odysseys were known to have slower acceleration than 2nd generation Odysseys, probably due to weight. These vans were also one of the first few vehicles to have a PAX run-flat tire system, so it was a special wheel and tire package that let you drive the car for up to 50 miles with a flat tire. One little quirk about the Odyssey is that in 2007 it wasn't revised, but for some reason Honda moved the Odyssey emblem from the right side of the tailgate to the left side. The Odyssey was once again refreshed in 2008 and given an aux jack, a new front and rear end, and daytime running lights. The 4th generation Odyssey came out in 2011, and its lightning bolt rear window design really set it apart from other minivans of the time. 4th gen Odysseys also got a revised 3.5 liter V6, also found in the Pilot and the Ridgeline, which was rated at 250 horsepower. The Odyssey was restyled in 2014 and given a tweaked front and rear end. Also, all models got a standard 6-speed automatic transmission, unlike older models getting a 5-speed or an optional 6-speed. 2018 gave us the 5th generation Odyssey, a completely different van from any Odyssey of the past. It had a 280 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6 that Honda's been using for forever, which is shared with the Pilot and the Ridgeline as well. It offered crazy new technologies like cabin watch and cabin talk, so you can talk to the people in the back and see them with a little camera, and it also had standard Honda sensing, which is Honda's passive and active safety system. Actually, as I'm talking right now, we're getting a 2021 Odyssey in the next few months. This particular van next to me is my mom's. It's a 2005 Odyssey Touring. The Touring model came standard with 17-inch alloy wheels, which were run flats. I'll talk about those later. The Touring model added fog lights, a power tailgate, memory seats, power adjustable pedals, and so many more features that most minivans of the time didn't offer. For EXL and Touring models, the premium audio system with the navigation system was actually an option, and this one happens to have it. The Odyssey definitely has presence on the road. All Odysseys come with halogen headlights, because of course 2005, and Touring models also get fog lights. I personally prefer the 2008 to 2010 Odyssey's refresh look better, but these pre-refresh models don't look too bad at all. This Odyssey is kitted in Desert Rock Metallic, one of the more mundane colors out there. These Odysseys look big and it really shows inside. Opening the tailgate of the Odyssey reveals a massive amount of cargo volume. 38 cubic feet behind the 3rd row, 91 cubic feet behind the 2nd row, and 147 cubic feet with all rows down. Odyssey Touring doesn't come with a spare tire because of its run-flat system. Shutting the trunk shows a rather vertical rear end, which allows you to stack tall things in the back of your Odyssey. The interior of the 3rd Gen Odyssey looks surprisingly modern. Yes, the infotainment is dated, but the overall look of it could pass for a modern minivan. The best way I could describe the interior of the Odyssey is smart. Soft touch where it needs to be, hard touch where it needs to be. So every Odyssey gets this 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel. You'll also see it on 7th Gen Accords. That's just some family resemblance, but I do like the design of the wheel and I like the layout of the wheel. And then since this one is a touring, you have a trip computer which shows up on the gauges. Now speaking about the gauges, I like how when the Odyssey is off, you can't really see anything. But when you turn the car on, they come right up and it's a nice white font and it's really easy to read. Since this Odyssey is a touring with the nav and rear entertainment system, we have the navigation system. So again, it's 2005, not much to it, and surprisingly, it's very quick and responsive. You know, the graphics might not be the best, but this is honestly one of the best navigation systems that I've used in a car that is in the early 2000s. Also, this car has one of the best voice control systems too. It knows what you're saying. It's really responsive. I like it. This one also has a premium audio system, which sounds pretty good. It's never sounded tinny at all. It has good bass. It's not a high watt system. I think it's 500 or 600 watts. It's not like new cars where it's 8, 9, 10, whatever, but it sounds really good. The climate controls still look modern, even in 2020. It's very simple. There's no buttons in the screen. There's nothing. You just have all your buttons right there. The only thing about these old Odysseys is that the bulbs will go out, so that's something that you have to replace. Then finally towards the bottom you have the DVD slot where you'd enter your DVDs, and then underneath that you have 2 power outlets and the heated seat controls are down there too. Now of course, since this is a minivan, there is plenty of storage and versatility inside of this car. The first thing that I'd like to mention is the dual glove box setup. So that's something that 3rd Gen Odysseys were known to have, and I do like it. You know, you could put little things in the top and then big things in the bottom. And then you also have this tray in the middle here that has 4 cup holders on it, but wait, there's 2 more that pop out right here. And there's just already 6 cup holders, and then there's 2 in the doors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cup holders in the front seats. That's crazy. And then there's more storage. There's this little compartment underneath the heated seat controls that you could put more stuff in it. And then this center tray actually folds down so you could walk into the back of the Odyssey too. And there's so much more storage back there. I just don't like how far I feel from the steering wheel. I feel like my arms are fully extended. And this steering wheel only tilts and it doesn't telescope, which is a problem that I have because I kind of like being a little bit closer to the wheel. But the seats, they're so comfortable. This is the best car to go on road trips in with the whole family. The second row of the Odyssey is where it's at. These seats are a bunch more comfortable than the front seats because you just sit in it and it feels like you're in a big leather chair at home. I like the 2 armrests. These seats slide forwards and backwards, and then they also recline. It's so good. You also have the rear climate controls on the driver's side for the rear passengers, and you know, not that many controls. I do like that you get 3-zone climate control. And then also, speaking about controls in the rear, you do have the rear entertainment system which pops out from the ceiling like most other cars. And you know, there's not that many settings in it. It really is only for DVDs. If you really wanted to, you could plug an old gaming console in the back because there actually is a power outlet in the 3rd row. So if you really wanted to do that, you could do that, but I didn't do that. The Odyssey Touring also gets this massive center console for the rear too, which slides open, and then there's 2 cup holders. I really like it. When I was a kid, I always left my stuff in here, and then you know, you could have this as a little tray and then the cup holders. It was great. Also, underneath the floor, which this is actually where older Odysseys have the spare tire. This is a Lazy Susan, so you can actually put stuff under here and store it, and really no one knows about it. Getting in the 3rd row of the Odyssey is also a piece of cake. All you have to do is just pull this lever up here and the seat slides forward and you have a good amount of room back here. So Unlike some crossovers, me getting in, this is so easy, and this is why if you need something that you really need the third row and you're going to use it a lot, you just need a minivan. Because sliding this seat back and then reclining it, let me show you how much room I have back here. So my phone is on. This is how much room I have with the second row seat slid all the way back. And I can fit my feet under the seat, and I have like 3 inches of leg room, which is great. And headroom is perfect too. I have no complaints on that part. And then over here is actually where you have that power outlet and then some rear audio jacks. And then on the other side, you just have a little storage compartment, but 2 cup holders on the passenger side and then 1 on the driver's side. I also forgot to mention that the second row seats have sunshades in them, so that was only on models with the rear entertainment system. Behold, the J35A6, a 3.5 liter single overhead cam V6 with VTEC, actually iVTEC and VCM. It made 255 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. Now for these Odysseys, it went through a 5-speed automatic transmission and only to the front wheels. As for fuel economy, you should be expecting about 17 in the city and 25 on the highway. Those numbers are kind of accurate because we actually get 17.2 on the trip computer. So driving this thing around parking lots, you don't really feel the size of it that much. Honestly, this feels just like my Accord. Unless if you're really thinking about it, you don't really feel the size of this car. Now I'm gonna pull out onto this straight road and let's see how it does. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So, like I said, 255 horsepower, and this is a minivan, so it's not fast at all, but you know, it goes perfectly fine for what it is. And also, I did a few years ago, when I was a little noob, put a short ram intake on it. VTEC. So, like, you know, it sounds beefy, but it's a minivan, so, you know, it's just funny. But the 5-speed auto in this is not made to be driving like an idiot. I mean, the car will, you know, like it does, I mean, it'll do it, but it's not thrilled to do it. There's not much torque steer either, which is something nice for something with this much torque and front wheel drive. So this road kind of makes any car float, and let's see, it does float just a little bit, and you know, it handles all right. We're gonna get up on some windy roads up ahead, but you know, driving this normally, it really does feel like just a slightly heavier Accord V6. It's not that drastic of a difference unless if you're really looking at performance times and numbers and lateral G's. Other than that, driving it normally, you don't feel like it's a minivan. You know, the steering, it is light, but since this is hydraulic steering, you do feel, you know, you do feel what the front tires are doing. It feels light, but also heavy. I guess that's just the hydraulic feeling of it. And it actually takes corners not that bad. I've never driven this car in a way to feel how it does around a corner, but you know, I'm driving, you know, pretty much the speed limit, but these turns are kind of swoopy and sharp, so it's not that bad. I'm kind of impressed so far. So sometimes when you're driving, you definitely do notice the car go into eco mode, so it just doesn't feel as smooth. It kind of feels a little, you feel a little bit more vibration, and that's, I guess, what some people don't like about VCM. Me, it doesn't bother me terribly, but I could do without it. So getting on the power again. Like, it really does pick up when you hit VTEC. It's not fast. It's like, you know, but it just, you just feel the extra power when you get into VTEC, which is a good feeling. I like VTEC. So once again, we're gonna get up on the power here. That was an S2000. That was fun. I mean, the car rips. Now, this is probably the most aggressive that this car has ever been driven. And whoa, it's funny how it just like, I drove a Sienna. Whoa, look at that. Now, granted, this car has crappy all-season tires on it, but that was a little bit of an adrenaline rush with a minivan. This is fun to drive. Wow, like that put a smile on my face up there. Seriously. Oh my gosh. That's like, it's just like, of course you kind of have to hustle it. It's not gonna do it easily, but it will do it if you make it do it. That was a fun little stretch of road. There's three main things that I'd like to point out. For vans with over 100,000 miles, I would definitely check if the timing belt and water pump have been done, because these are interference engines. So if the timing belt snaps or the water pump goes, well, either one, if they go, no more engine. Another thing, if you're looking at an Odyssey Touring just like this one, we actually had to go through this. These come with run flat tires, and one tire is $400. So what we did is depax it. So these wheels are from a 2011 Odyssey Touring, and they're 18s on like the 17s, and you can put regular tires on them, which are a lot cheaper. And that is actually why you see a bunch of these old Odysseys with aftermarket wheels. I decided to go the OEM route, but you can do whatever you want as long as the bolt pattern is 5x120. A 2005 Honda Odyssey Touring with the rear entertainment system and navigation would run you about $38,495 brand new, but you can find one in decent shape for about $3,000 to $7,000 depending on mileage and condition. I need to stop the dog faded chat.